All right, we're gonna try this again, guys. Hopefully, third time is a charm. I'm gonna wait for Kate to come on. We're gonna try headphones so there's not an echo. And hopefully, now that it's side camera, this is just gonna be amazing. Hold on just a second. There's Kate. Oh, we're so professional. I don't know if we can do it. Anybody can. Okay. Is there an echo? You're frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yes. For a second, I thought it was frozen.
Oh my God. I was
I
like,
don't hear an
please,
echo.
God, let the third time be a charm.
Yay!
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, you know what? These things happen with live video. Live. Okay.
Thank you so much for your guys' patience, especially Kimberly. Thank you so much for your help of being like, here's how you do it, pros. Good. Thanks, Lisa. I'm glad there's no echo. Echo. I don't, this is
It's been
not
stressful.
my day. It's been a crazy
Yeah.
day already. You
Oh,
too?
well, yeah. Like I had the girly doctor appointment. Sorry, guys, but it happens, you know? So, yeah. Speaking of healthy.
There we go. Okay, everyone, we're so glad that you're here so far, and thank you for hanging in with us. I'm going to let
Yeah.
Kate start off, and you can introduce
Okay,
us.
so for those of you who don't know us, my name is Kate Jaramillo, Kate Bay Jaramillo, because I went from Bay to Jaramillo. You guys should just know that because it's been a struggle. And then this is my business partner, Alicia Kane. So I'm super excited that you guys can be with us today, and thank you so much for your patience. So the reason that we wanted to start here, Madden's asleep in my lap pooping. So Alicia and I believe in doing work that builds a career and not just a side hustle, right? Because you're hustling and it's just something on the side. But we know firsthand that distraction kills action because we've been there with the shiny objects. And that's why here at A Healthy Business, we're cutting through the overwhelm and is to provide online health coaches with these tried and tested strategies that we've been through that are immediately and ready to implement actions that they need to launch to be seen, to scale their businesses, to become profitable coaching businesses. This is a brand new page, and some of you may not know us. So we're going to take today and tomorrow to introduce ourselves. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, you don't know me, my name is Kate Bay Jaramillo. I am the founder of Ketogenic Living 101. Ketogenic Living 101 is a company that provides impactful ketogenic lifestyle wellness programs and equips the ketogenic enthusiast with tools and resources to build a highly successful ketogenic coaching business. I am going to tell you a little bit about my story today, and then Alicia is going to go tomorrow so that you can get to know us a little bit more and what we're going to be offering here every day to you all the time. So I kind of fell into becoming an online health coach, and I really definitely fell into this opportunity. I had been a fitness instructor, so it was kind of a natural fit, but I had not been a business owner. My degree is in broadcast communications, and my background is in sales. So I knew very little about owning a business or anything that took. I fell into this opportunity because I wanted something that I could do when I decided not to go back to my full-time job after the birth of my first daughter, Presley. So this had presented itself to me. It sounded like a great fit because I was really already interested in health and nutrition, and I was already a fitness instructor. So again, I didn't really understand what it took to build a business. The only thing that I really knew about businesses were that they could be stressful, and I heard that you have to spend money to make money. And so without having any knowledge or systems or anything like that, I freaking struggled. I was on my computer or on my phone 24/7. I had no boundaries with my clients and especially not with my potential clients. Oh my God, like anytime I got any sort of notification on my phone and it was from somebody that was like asking about one of the things, like how they could work with me, I'm like, leaving dinner with my kids or, putting something down, just getting distracted by my phone because I had to follow up or else I would have lost that sale or something. And I was making no money, like in the red because I was investing in like, products or something like that to keep, I was in an MLM, so multi-level marketing company. So I was trying to keep, my upline status active and all that stuff. So I'm spending money here, I'm throwing money at other solutions to like put a band-aid on this freaking like hemorrhage that was coming out of like my bank account. And the worst thing is I didn't even have to like work. I was doing this because I wanted to contribute to my family's income and I didn't want to ask permission to like buy a pair of jeans or go to happy hour with my friends or something like that. I didn't want to ask for money. So I'm trying to make money and I'm in the red, like putting us more in debt than anything else. So obviously I was incredibly stressed and I felt like a big fat failure and a loser and all of these bad things. And I'm ignoring my kids or being mean to them because I was just so frustrated with myself. Well,
Now, how many years ago
this
was this?
was like 7 years ago. 7 years ago. And I don't regret
Okay.
I don't regret the struggle. Like I don't regret making the decision to stay home or to get into health,
Mhm.
to get into the wellness business or to start an MLM because it was all great, experience. But I mean, I just know how much my heart hurt. And you know what? Like ignoring my kids, ignoring my husband, and he was like one time when I like, paid down like a credit card, he's like, "Where, like what are you spending on? Why are we paying, like $4,000 to like Capital One?" I was like, "Oh, well, those are like business expenses." He's like, "Aren't you like making like $1,300 a year?" My wake up point came like years in when we did our taxes. I
Uh-huh.
did my taxes, and for whatever reason I had in my head that I had at least made like $1,000 per month at that point, which that was just in like my own business and like not counting what I made as a fitness instructor, which by the way is like nothing because you just don't make money as a fitness instructor. But I thought in my head I was making like $1,000 per month. When we did our taxes, I'm so embarrassed to even say this, like I made $4,000. And it wasn't counting
Mhm.
like, and I think I spent probably like $11,000 that year. No, on
Oh
like
gosh.
coaches and
Oh
other
gosh.
things.
Yeah, and that's so common. And that's so common because I know, like, even with myself, when I was doing, like, I signed up for every
Yep.
MLM out there when I was a
Hmm.
new mom, and I never made a dollar. I only spent money. I
Yeah.
never made a dollar. So that's so relatable. It's
Yeah.
super
And there are
relatable.
like, it's not the fault of the network marketing company that I was involved with at
Mm-mm.
all. Like, it was me and not like understanding
Mhm.
what to do, not having a niche. Like, I just didn't understand anything. And there
Mhm.
really wasn't any business training that went with that. In fact, there's not any business training either when you go and you become a fitness instructor. Like when you get, your certifications for fitness or for something like that, you don't get business
Mhm.
training. They're like, "Okay, great. Like now you
Right.
know how to not injure someone." Okay, well, awesome. Like how do I keep track of the money that I'm spending to buy music? Or, you know what I mean? Like all of those things. Like there
Yeah.
just isn't any sort of training like that. And so I just spun constantly and just spent all this
Mhm.
money. And I had this little like thought in my head or this like warped reality that because I was still making money, like I would still get sales or I was making money for teaching classes or something, that I was
Mhm.
still making money, that I was, in this like
Mhm.
viable
Yeah.
business. And I think that's a spot where a lot of us fall into when we have a business that we're not actually making money in. We are deceived by the money that does come in and we're like, "Oh, great, like I'm turning a profit." When you're not looking
Yeah.
at all of your expenses, what that really comes out to every single month,
Mhm.
daily, like, having to pay babysitters to
Mhm.
watch my kids, where I'm spending like $30 on the babysitter. And after I've taught a class, I've made like $20. It's
Yeah. And there's also that a lot of information out there is telling you have
Yeah,
to spend money to make money. But they don't tell you that you have to be spending money on foundational building things that last. And that's the problem, is most people are buying things in hopes that it'll work, and that tool doesn't last them. So they're just kind of throwing money into a black
absolutely. And I
hole.
was so overwhelmed
Yeah.
anyway by like with just the amount of hours that I was putting into work, and truthfully getting myself really distracted on social media because I was like, oh, well, this person's doing that and that person's doing this, so I should probably do that too. Or like, what are the hashtags that are popular today? And, tricking myself that I was actually
Mhm.
being productive because I was like doing work, but I was really just busy work.
Busy work.
Exactly. And so I would
Yeah.
buy like a lot of these programs and stuff too. And again, it's not the fault of these programs. I failed to implement
Mhm.
anything because again, like I was already so overwhelmed. So still, I have thousands and thousands of dollars sitting in
Mhm.
courses that I've barely started, let alone finished.
Mhm.
Thousands of dollars. Like,
I think I'm up in like tens
oh
of
my God,
thousands.
totally. Yeah. And it's like ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. And
easily.
I feel like there have even been times in the past like year that something's come up and I'm like, ooh, that looks good. But luckily I have you now that I can be like, do I need this? And you're like, no, because you already do that and you have it and you're not going to implement it. I'm like, you're right. You do need a sounding board. It's very important in your business.
So what was the thing that changed
Well,
everything for
okay.
you? Like,
So
when did it
turning point
change?
number one was doing my taxes that year and seeing how little I made. And it was
Mhm.
literally just like the wake up call that I needed to, well, first of all, I spent like maybe about a month, okay, like a good month feeling like, what am I doing here? Like, do I
Mhm.
want to have a business anymore? Or because I knew I didn't want to go back to working outside the house because I wanted to be here for my kids in case they needed to meet me, drive and pick them up from school and all that. But I was like, do I want to get a work from home job? Like one that pays me money,
Mhm.
that like a salary type of job or something that I'm not running my own business because I don't know that I can actually do this. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm wasting all this money and this
Mhm.
time. But what changed for me was sitting down and being like, okay, who is it that I actually want to serve? Like, who do I really want to work with? Because it was just everybody, like anybody that would pay me money. I was like, okay, you're my target
Yeah.
audience because you're paying me
Right?
money. But it wasn't that. So
Yeah.
getting very, very clear on who my target audience was and finding my niche in nutrition, which came from studying. Like it came from getting my
Mhm.
certification in nutrition and through that figuring out really what I wanted to do and what I wanted to teach. And then because I knew what I wanted to teach, I knew who I wanted to serve, I created something for that specific person. Like I created programs
Mhm.
for that specific program. So I served a community who is currently underserved and served them in a way that only I could. And only I could because I was the only one that could understand exactly what they were going through and exactly what I could offer them. So that was a really big changing point.
And how did you know which one was for you? Like, how did you like really identify
So
that?
because, being in health and fitness for so long, for so many years, I knew what wasn't working for me. And the biggest thing that I struggled with was a sugar addiction and the daily energy crashes. So it really for me came down to I chose keto because it made more sense to me than what I had been
Mhm.
following, which was what I was being taught on the fitness side of things, which was like the 6 small meals a
Right.
day and, eating all the time and, eating low fat, low calories. So that didn't work for me. And I was always hungry. And I just thought that that's just how it was supposed to be. It's funny how you don't realize sometimes that you're sick and unwell until you feel 1,000 times better. And then that light bulb in your mind goes off
Mhm.
and you're like, oh my God, like I was unwell. Like I was unwell. I started
Mhm.
getting like this is
Mhm.
random, but like I started getting skin tags on my body, which like I've always been relatively thin, good genes, I guess, and in like good shape because I worked out a lot. But I was getting these like skin tags, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so gross. And like, this is how my skin is going to be. And I'm going to have like weird skin for the rest of my life and have to go to a dermatologist every week to have my weird skin tags removed. And it literally wasn't. And again, like this is just isn't something that a lot of people talk about, but it wasn't until I just went deeper and deeper with keto. And I was like, oh my God. So all these skin tags could be like pre-diabetes. Like that's something. And I would have
Oh.
never thought that about myself because I was so healthy, right? But
Yeah.
like within, just a couple of months, like I didn't have those skin tags anymore. They literally just like fell off. I don't know where they went, but I didn't have them anymore. And that was a good thing. But that was a really big shift for me. And then organizing my calendar was a really important thing that I did. So I am not good with having like a ton of different things on my calendar. What worked for me was block scheduling. And everyone's a little bit different, but block scheduling worked really well
Yeah.
for me to say like, okay, these are days that I'm going to spend writing because I like writing. These are days that I'm going to spend, coming up with new things for my clients, or this is what I'm going to spend. This is the time I'm going to block for organizing my social media calendar and planning stuff like that out. And as I grew in my business and moved forward, okay, these are the days I'm going to devote for podcasting. These are the days I'm going to devote for interest calls and consult calls. But I had to get really organized with my calendar. And that really helped be able to work in family time, which, you know what, I schedule in family time. I schedule in my showers. And especially now that I have like another,
Same
I mean,
here.
like when you have all these kids, it's like,
You have to.
like you have to schedule in like, I don't want to be smelly and I want to go to bed like feeling kind of clean. So I schedule in my showers. Maybe not everyone has to do that. I do. I have to schedule in. Yeah,
I do.
Right. Like,
it's not going to happen if it doesn't. And it has to become like self-care is routine. That's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
You're like, this is non-negotiable because I know that if I miss one day, it's going to become 2 days. It's going to become a week. It happens constantly where I will like just be like, you know what, just today.
Totally.
I have so much on my plate. I'm just going to skip today. And next thing you know, you're completely off track with everything. How you can let one thing slide and suddenly everything has
It even happened like as recently as like this pregnancy. I was committed to getting a prenatal massage once a month. Like that was something that I was like, this is what I'm doing. I did it from like as soon as I could, as soon as I got into my second trimester. And I would get these emails that was like, oh, well, so-and-so can only talk on like this date and time. Can you just like squeeze them in? And I was like, no, I can't. The power of no has been so instrumental in my life for setting boundaries personally and professionally. Like that, and we hear about that, right? Like you have to be able to say no to things.
Right.
And I'm truly a recovering people pleaser. And I still have a lot of that in me where I'm like, oh, I don't really want to say no, or I want to figure out like how to make it work for that person and stuff. But you know what? Saying yes to them was saying no to myself, and saying no to myself then was also saying no to all the other things that were really important to me, like my clients, my family, building what I wanted to build. And you know what, if someone's going to be really super mad at me for saying no, then they probably don't really belong in my life.
Yeah. And it's funny how when you do say no, it's amazing how people stand up and be like, I'm adaptable. They're adaptable. And they'll be like, okay, no problem. How does this work? And then you can mutually, but sometimes when we're in that scarcity, we feel like we have to just mold ourselves to what everybody wants, not realizing that sometimes those people are willing to adapt as well. And we just think that first presentation is all they've got for us. And if we don't say yes immediately, that we're going to lose that person. And I'm always surprised by that, of being like, no, that doesn't work for me, but how does this work? And they're always like, absolutely, that works great. And so that has been always amazing to me, is when I stand firm and I protect the things that matter the most, that those people can also, they're honoring me and they have more respect for me as a professional, of being like, hey, she really is someone I want to
Yeah.
model myself after. I want to be that kind of person that can say no. I want to be, because that's what they're struggling with. And so when you're working with people, they essentially want to be kind of like you. And so when you're able to say no to some clients and say, no, that doesn't work for me, but this does, they're like, oh, okay. And it's usually rarely, I don't think I've ever had a situation where someone was upset at me. In 12 years of doing this, I don't think I've had a single person that was like, well, geez, well, screw you. No one's ever done that to me. But we have that fear that if that is what's going to happen when you're just terrified of losing every single potential.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head too with the scarcity mindset, that lack mindset. I think that that's something that's really important that that so many people are in. Well, like, I have to take this client because I don't know when I'm going to get another one. Well, that's not really true. There are, billions of people in the world. So like, and there are thousands and thousands that you can understand and really truly help. So if you say yes to the client that you really have no business helping, then you are going to block the client that you really can help, because the one that you truly can't help, you're going to be running around in circles trying to figure things out. They will maybe like even like unwantingly like become like an energy vampire for you, and they don't even mean to. It's just,
for sure.
They're asking you all these questions. They want all of this support that you truly can't provide because you have no idea. You have no idea who they are.
Yeah, well, and if you invite an energy vampire to tea, don't be surprised when they drain you dry. Like, they're like, wait, you were just offering everything to me, and now you're upset at me that I'm taking everything that you're offering? They're very confused.
Right.
And it's sometimes not even their fault when you're just like, here's my open availability, have whatever you want. And then you're like, wait, no, that's too much now.
No, exactly. And so
it's very confusing.
Like, getting that calendar together felt like part of my business system, right? Like, and that was the other thing that totally changed for me, was creating like systems for my business that, listen, there are certain parts of my business that are automated, but there are certain parts that are not, because I refuse to lose a personal connection with somebody, to just like kind of like send them off in the world and never to be heard from again. Like, I don't want that at all. But there are certain things in my business that I was able to automate, which then freed up my schedule to do other things. Something that I still have to be very cautious of is not looking at a gap in my schedule and filling it up. Like, not looking at a gap in my schedule and being like, oh, okay, well, I have an extra hour here, so why don't I like sign up for this program or do this other thing or something like that? Like, it's because I spent so many years being so busy that, like, sometimes now when I'm not so busy, that downtime, it almost feels like I'm like slacking a little bit. And that is not, I think that that's a very common thing too. We get to that point where we're just like, oh, well, I mean, if I'm sitting on the couch, like watching Game of Thrones with my husband, spending time together, that's like just us, if I'm not like on my phone or checking email or doing something like that, I must be slacking. That's just not true. And because I've spent so many years doing that, like, I know how much it hurt, my relationships and stuff. Like, I mean, like my kids used to play on these like play phones, and I would like ask them a question and be like, oh no, I can't answer you right now, I'm working. Like, that, I got that from them a few times. And it was because that's what they were like seeing me do. But so I still have to be very careful about that. Like, that's something that I have to mindfully watch out for. And when I do have open time, that I let that time be open and I fill it with like kid stuff, or maybe not, or maybe I take a nap or watch Friends or find an episode of How I Met Your Mother. Those are my two favorite shows or something like that, but I have to really watch for that. And that's another reason, like I told you guys, I have this like freaking like graveyard of online courses that have all just like gone and died. No, maybe I'll pick them back up someday, but that's like, right. And that's the other thing is like getting distracted by all those other shiny objects that come out. So I really limit my social media time. I am on there like really not often anymore. If I miss a day of posting, it's not the end of the world. But like, just again, mindful with my time, focusing on like being very strategic with my time and not getting distracted, and instead just focusing on what I know to work and implement what I know works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think Rachel just said something about the struggle with balance is real. And I just want to pitch in and say, like, and Kate will agree with me, it's not what we're trying to do is finding balance. What we're trying to do is, you know, you guys understand this being in health and fitness, is that there isn't such thing when you're growing, there's no such thing as balance. You go through a season of tearing muscles and healing and rebuilding, and then tearing muscles and healing and rebuilding. And you have to know when to hustle and when to push in, and you have to know when to heal and rest. And so that's what we're finding is not so much about balance, but where to focus our energy when that energy is the most important, and getting really clear on that. And that's where Kate and I have both really gotten, we're not perfect by any means. And we still both really struggle with this at times because we're moms, and being moms give us curveballs. You know, and so that's what, new baby. And, you know, things don't always work out according to plan. But what we are really clear on is what is our goal with what we're doing? What is the most important thing? And we focus our energy on that most important thing. And so sometimes that means for me, as a single mom, I have to stay up late. Or with Kate, she has to get up early with a nursing baby. Like, we change and we figure out, but what is going to accomplish our goal? And once that goal is accomplished and we've kind of tearing those muscles, how do we heal and rebuild those things again? So that, I think, and so when you guys feel like, you know, like that thing with balance, that's not what we're trying to accomplish at all. And nor do we encourage anyone to find balance, or even how to be time management, you know, beast, because you can't manage time. You can use it productively, but you can't fully manage time and be, you know, really balanced. It's a losing battle.
There are definitely all those variables. And I think that what you just said about being able to, like, make sure that you're resting and repairing is really important. Like, for me, something that I had to do, and this is in my calendar and it is scheduled, is take a scheduled day off where I am not checking emails. I'm not answering things. Like, I am totally shutting down from a day off of my business. Because I could do it all the time. I like it. I like being busy. I love what I do. I love who I serve. So I could literally do it all the time. But if I do, I will burn out. I will be totally fatigued. I will become resentful of my business, and my family will hate me. So I have to schedule a day off.
Yeah. And I schedule 2 days because I need that more because of being a single mom. With the relationships that I have, I've had to set aside 2 days, and that's really important for me, where, you know, like one day is my significant other, and then one's my children, you know. And so that's how, you know, it's like I have to have those days of healing. It's so important for me. And I can have a to-do list super long, and I've learned over the years that I have to pull myself out of that and just know that on Monday I can pick it back up. And it might mean getting up a little bit earlier on Monday if, you know, if Friday I didn't get everything I needed to be done. But I do not pick up anything on my days off. It is a very strict boundary that I have.
And I think it's super important. It's got to happen. And speaking of things to do, I got to pick up my kids from school. That's part of the entrepreneur life that I love, being able to be that parent. And maybe that's not like a priority for everyone that's watching this call, or you don't have kids, or you have kids that are grown or whatever, but that's a priority for me. And I'm really glad to have the opportunity to do this. And I will say that, you know, I wish that I would have been able to systematize things, to have, you know, a set calendar, to realize that having boundaries is not only okay, but like necessary. I wish I would have been able to have a strategic partner like I have now, and Alicia, from the get-go, to have saved, because those are years now that, like, I have lost that I can't get back. However, they taught me really valuable lessons. And now, you know, I have the best partner in the world, and who can help really, like, further this, like, drive and mission to help other heart-focused online health coaches avoid these same things that we've gone through, like, and save you years, you know, of things that you can't get back, of missing things that are important to you. but still allow you that time and the strategy to build something that you really love and that you're so proud of. Yeah, and I'm really proud of, the business that I have built and what that's been able to provide for our family, what that means for them, and you know what, like how my kids like live and eat and respect other people and just who they are.
And I think that's really important too for, to go along with what you said, it's like what you wish you could have had, it's just like you look back and this is what I wish I would have had. And I think that, it's just like it took me 12 years to get to what I really, really, truly wanted to be at. And I mean, I think that you hear all the most successful entrepreneur stories, and a lot of them will say, I wish I would have known what I know now. And I think that is where you need to give yourself grace.
Oh, yeah.
That you cannot sidestep and do a perfect business. I could tell you something that could save you heartache, and Kate could tell you something that saves you heartache, but that doesn't mean that you will not experience heartache in your business. Like you're going to have something somewhere else. And so that's just part of the entrepreneurial journey. And you need to give yourself grace for that journey and not be like, I can't do this. Because I think that's where, I know Kate felt that way. And I felt that way at times where we just get to that point where you're like, I can't do this. This isn't for me. And you need to give yourself grace and listen to the wisdom of other people who have been there, done that. But don't beat yourself up when it doesn't you're like, why can't I be like them? And we've had some horrible, horrible failures, like big epic failures. We both have, and we'll go into some of those in the future so that you guys know that it hasn't been, even though, Kate has a 6-figure empire and I've had over $1.5 million. Like we have bigger stories these are built on failures, and you are going to build your story on failures as well. And it's part of that muscle tearing that is important. Like we'll help you recover from some of those things. And we might be able to point you in a way that can reduce the impact of some of those things, but it's still a part of the journey.
Yeah. But you know what? We will love on you during those parts of the journey. Oh, and Kim, I know, but you keep pushing through. And Charles, thank you so much for what you said. I have all these pregnancy hormones raging through, and I'm crying. But I literally love you guys. You're amazing.
Guys are so sweet.
Yeah, and we're so proud of you. I'm happy that you're here.
Yep. So do you have anything?
No, just listen. You are allowed to scream and cry and fail and throw yourself on the floor, but you're not allowed to give up. And especially with us here kicking your butt, you can't give up. We're just not going to let you.
Great. It's not allowed.
Yeah. There's no crying in baseball. There's no quitting in this best ever business.
There we go. All right, everyone. It was so great to have you all. And we've got to run, and we will see you again
thanks for dealing with it,
because we're going to be doing this daily. Yeah, we're going to get better at this.
We failed, and now we're going to try again.
There you go. If we can show up on Facebook Live and embarrass ourselves, you can too. We highly recommend maybe go do that right after you're done with this. Go do a Facebook Live.
Do it.
That sounds great. Yeah, go do a Facebook Live.
All right, guys. We love you lots. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.